ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं भङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरम्। So continuing our discussion from the most important Upanishad, Shri Isopanishad. Last week we discussed the invocation and the summary was uh, everything about Krishna is complete. All his expansions are complete. Everything that comes from his is complete, whether it is the universes, whether it is the jiva, whether it is the incarnations. And although every emanation from his is complete, he still remains complete. That was the invocation. ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्चा जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीता मा गृह्णा कश्चित्। The Lord is the supreme proprietor. Accept your quota and don't be greedy for more. So Isa, this is called, it's a very famous principle. You will hear this, the first verse of this first shloka. You will hear in many, many classes. Srila Prabhupada would quote it many, many times. It's called the Isha Vasyam principle. And Isha Vasyam means everything belongs to Krishna. That's what it means. Isha Vasyam. Everything, animate, idam sarva means whatever is here within this universe. Idam, sarvam, everything. And Prabhupada describe it as everything, animate or inanimate. Um, Basically means with the soul or just the material object, which Krishna also says, as we said, you will, it completely correlates with Bhagavad Gita. All the verses you will find in Bhagavad Gita. of Isopanishad also. We see earth, water, they are my separated material energy, Bhinna Prakriti. Um, and seven chapter Krishna says everything, animate or inanimate, visible or invisible, within this universe, invisible, air is invisible, and but it is an element that belongs to Krishna. Everything animate or inanimate, visible or invisible within this universe is owned, pervaded, and controlled by the Supreme Lord Krishna. Nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. This is called Isha Vasyam principle. Then Tena, Tyaktena Bhunjita. Bhunja means you can you can enjoy. One should accept only those necessary things which are set aside as one's quota according to one's karma. One should not hanker for more. One may enjoy, but with a renounced spirit. Means everything belongs to Krishna, and Krishna has given a quota to all of us, and we can accept and enjoy whatever quota is given by Krishna in a detached manner. Like just like you have children, and then you give the children something, you give one child something, you give another child something, and then if they steal each other's possession, then that is not very pleasing to father and mother. Likewise, Krishna has given, based on our karma, Krishna has given a particular quota to each living entity, each living, and everything belongs to Krishna, and each living entity can accept one's quota and be happy, be satisfied with that. One may enjoy one quota in a renounced spirit. So this is what it means. Tena tyaktena bhunjita ma greda kasya svidhanam. One should not try to accept the quota or wealth of others, knowing whom they belong to. And like, um, yeah, whatever Krishna provides, accept, um, and don't be, I mean, don't be greedy for what belongs to others. Don't try to enjoy the quota which belongs to others. Everything belongs to Krishna. And that not only applies to home, it applies to anything. It can be position. At work, it can be the kind of family members Krishna has given, the kind of like a business or job or wealth or whatever, a house, everything, whatever it is, anything, any material opulence. Krishna has given a particular quota to us. Be happy with that. Don't have the enjoying mentality of, I don't have the desire to enjoy somebody else's quota or greedy for what according to karma Krishna has given different to different people. But ultimately, everything belongs to Krishna. So Krishna's energy is owned and controlled by him. Apara Prakriti, inferior energy, the elements of material nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. This is Apara Prakriti. It is one of Krishna's energy, and superior energy, the living entity is called Para Prakriti. So we and everything in the universe, everything is owned by Krishna. Everything in the universe is a combination of Para and the Apara Prakritis. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being. The Lord is Purnam, all perfect and complete. There is no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature. Means Krishna is Purnam, Krishna is not controlled by the three modes. Krishna is always transcendental. He is the possessor of all potencies, the knower of everything, and the benefactor of everyone. He is full of inconceivable opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. These may be some of the things that one may aspire for. And how Krishna is Purnam, all these things in completeness belongs to him. All the potencies comes from him, the three modes comes from him. Opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, that comes from him. He is the owner of everything. He is thus the ultimate controller. And it is also said like who can control? We can control that thing which belongs to us. Um, like Jagannath Mishra could control his son and tell his son, you cannot go to school now because Jagannath Mishra got a dream that he will take sannyas. So he thought, if he knows what is life, what is the purpose of life, then he may take sannyas. I will stop him to going to college only. So something that belongs to you, you can control that. You can control where you want to use whatever opulence you have, whatever you own. Like if you are a businessman, then you can control what decisions to make in your company. You can control where your family will stay in US or India. So, but because everything belongs to Krishna, that's why we have no control. Because Krishna, I mean, we may have some control here and there, but Krishna is supreme control because everything belongs to him. When we think something belongs to me, then okay, but ultimately everything belongs to Krishna. We are just given a particular quota based on our karma. He is thus the ultimate controller. He is the sustainer. He sustains everything. And he's a dictator. He decides. He's a dictator of everything. Because like the different potencies. Okay, then acknowledging Krishna's proprietorship. Jiva versus Ishvara. The Lord is the super soul or the supreme conscious entity. Vibhu Chaitanya. And the individual soul Jiva is a minute conscious entity, Anu Chaitanya. Both are eternal. He is infinite, we are infinitesimal. Jiva's ignorance, but with a mistaken identity, the Jivas try to enjoy material objects that belong to others. Um, they can stop it if they accept all objects in relation to the Lord and give up selfish enjoyment. Um, the jiva, he tries to enjoy um, others, what belongs to others, and whatever that is that belongs to others, the jiva tries to enjoy. But if jiva sees that everything belongs to Krishna, with that linking process, he can give up his selfish enjoyment. When we see um, everything belongs to Krishna, then when we see Krishna there, then enjoying mentality will go away. But when we see anything independent of Krishna, then we will try to be the enjoyer of that naturally. So they can stop it if they accept. That is why Isha Vasha principle, if somebody accepts, then he will be happy with one's quota. Um, okay. Then spiritualizing matter by offering everything to the Lord and accepting one's little quota as his mercy. Um, everything becomes spiritual. Spiritualizing matter means whatever it belongs to the Lord, and whatever is needed, if we accept, and whatever belongs to Him, if we use it in His service, then everything that we possess will be spiritualized because everything belongs to Him. But by His mercy, whatever quota has been given to us, we use it in His service, and whatever is needed for us, we use it for ourselves, and we use our life for serving Krishna in a way with everything along with myself. We maintain ourselves with what quota Krishna gives us, and then we use our body to serve Krishna, and remaining we also use in the service of Krishna. In this way, the whole life will remain spiritualized. Everything, we ourselves and everything that belongs to us becomes spiritual. Then human beings, and this is all from the purport, human beings shouldn't quarrel over material possessions. We see because of the lack of Isavasya principle, there are so many fights within family members, so many quarrels over material possessions. So human beings shouldn't quarrel over material possessions, but realize the importance and aim of human life. I mean, life can go in quarrel or life can be positively directed towards self-realization. Life is short, time is less. Um, be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to them by the Lord's mercy. If anything is obstructing, like suppose some of our property is like it commonly happens in India, is um, not coming to us, and there are some obstructions, then that is also Krishna's arrangement. Na? That is also based on our karma that it is obstructed. So in a way, I mean, we can try to get what belongs to us for whatever reasons. Um, and if it is in our code, it will come to us. Um, but if the life goes only in quarreling and other things, then the time in our life is wasted. That's why it is Prabhupada says should not quarrel over material possession. Does not mean what belongs to you. I mean, if somebody is stealing, you are okay with that. Um, do the needful, but make sure our whole energy is not going in that direction, but rather focus the energy um, to realize the importance and the aim of human life. Be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to them by the Lord's mercy. Know Him to be the ultimate proprietor. Yeah, somebody, this is the principle, Isavasya principle, that whatever it is belongs to Krishna. Example of communist and capitalist. So, um, capitalist, they want power to themselves. Communist says that everything should be governed by the government. Communist, like all the hospitals, all the major companies, everything is controlled by the government. But capitalist says that individual owners, the medical industry is run by this person, that person. So that is the principle of capitalist. Prabhupada says both are not practicing Isavasya principle, because one of them is thinking everything belongs to me, other is thinking it belongs to government, but actually it belongs to none of them, it belongs to Krishna. So communists and capitalists, they always fight among each other, like who has the power or who has the control. Ultimately Krishna has the power and Krishna has the control. So communists and capitalists who claim proprietorship over the resources of nature, which are actually the Lord's property, cannot remain peaceful but are liable to punishment by the laws of nature. Then our houses are made of earth, wood, stone, iron, cement, etc., which we cannot produce. We can simply bring them together to form different shapes by our labor. A laborer, a laborer cannot claim to be a proprietor of a thing just because he has worked on it. I mean, you have a laborer, he built something, now he cannot say because I built it, so it belongs to me. Likewise, we can buy all these elements and we can have a house made of these elements, but we cannot claim this is mine because everything that it is made up of belong to the Lord. And logically also, if we see um, whatever we claim to be ours, I mean, we will end up in a graveyard. I say all the time, we'll end up there, and everything that we own will remain here. They will use by somebody, maybe our generations. And if we have no generations, then somebody else will take over. They will claim, people will keep claiming. Then once the universe is destroyed, everything is taken back, all the elements are put back into the Mahavishnu in the form of Mahavishnu. So nothing we can really claim. But it's easy to think in this way, but it's difficult to practice when we are living, because it's very easy to become attached. Then responsibility in human life. How do we live according to the Isavasya principle? Human versus animals. A human being has developed consciousness and intelligence to study the Vedas, recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord, but animals cannot do so. But human can recognize that there's a Supreme Lord and everything belongs to Him. So our consciousness should be developed in that way. Sin, it is nature's law that one living being is meant to feed on another. Lower species like the animals and birds, whether vegetarian or carnivorous, strictly adhere to the laws of nature ordained by the Lord, and thus they don't incur sin. Um, Like whatever cow eats, cow will eat that. Whatever lion will eat, lion will eat that. They don't incur sin because laws of nature is a living entity feeds on another living entity. So principle like responsible Isavasya principle in eating habits is God has kept lower animals as a quota for lion, and God has kept grass and other things as a quota for cow, and they all can feed on the quota that is assigned to them. But human being have God has kept this rice and grains and vegetables and fruits and milk. God has kept all these things. Krishna has kept all these things as a quota for humans to feed on. But breaking Isavasya principle is eating the flesh, which is not in our quota, and that's how the humans can incur sin. A tiger can kill other animals and eat their flesh without incurring sin, but if human beings kill animals to satisfy their uncontrolled taste buds, they will be punished for breaking the laws of nature. Cow eats grass and cow milk is designated as food for human beings by the Lord's arrangement. Vegetarianism and prasad. Being vegetarian, Prabhupada then says, just if you're vegetarian does not make us sin free. Those who doesn't offer food to Krishna eat only sin. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about this principle. um, Third chapter. Krishna accepts food from pure devotees. So we should become pure devotees of Lord Krishna. Prabhupada says, if you're not devotee, Krishna will not accept. Not just because you made a nice food, Krishna will accept. Krishna accepts only devotion. So if we don't offer food to Krishna, we eat only sin. So it is important that the food is offered to Krishna. But Krishna accepts food only from um, devotees of the Lord. So we should become devotees of the Lord. So Krishna accept our food and then we don't eat only sins. The root of sin is deliberate disobedience of the laws of nature by disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. Um, mm, Whatever laws of nature says, if we disobey, then that is the root cause of sin. Whatever Shastra say to disobey, that is the root cause of the sin. Humanity is ruined by such neglect of the Vedic instructions, which are the orders of the law of the Lord. Um, Very much visible in Kali Yuga. Whatever Shastra say, people go against it, and that's how the principles of human life are getting ruined, especially it's visible here. Back to Godhead, one who is sober, knows the laws of nature, and is not influenced by attachment or aversion, become eligible to go back to Godhead. Naturally, if we break Isavasya principle, what belongs to others quota, and or what does not belong to us, or what is not destined for us, if we try to take those things by force, then that is because of attachment. And to not be eager to accept somebody else's quota and be satisfied with one's quota is a principle of detachment. So, um, if one is sober and knows that Krishna is supreme proprietor, whatever quota is left, whatever Krishna has provided, I'll be happy. I'll use it and use my life in his service. Keep Krishna in the center. Then that sober man, and I will eat what quota is there for me. Um, and also we hear from Bhagavatam, even our success, whether it is material opulence, whether it is our position or whatever fortune there may be, everything is destined based on karma. And a living entity don't need to extract or exact over endeavor, don't need to over endeavor, because the living entity will get only what the living entity is destined for. Um, Rather, one should become sober, accept one's quota, use life and time to serve Krishna, eat what is also within our quota, and in this way go lead a sinful life, Krishna centered, and go back home, back to Godhead. This is the sum and substance of Isavasya principle. Then the next is the art of living in the spirit. Now, how do we live in that spirit of Isavasya principle? Work with detachment and avoid bondage. Kurvan eve एवेह कर्माणि जिजीविषे च तं समाम् एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतोऽस्ति न कर्मा लिप्यते नरे. If one works in this world as taught by verse 1, um, kurvan evaha karmani. In this way, if you perform your duty, if one works in this verse as just explained, one may aspire to live for hundreds of years. Then no problem, because whatever you have and your life, because Krishna is a proprietor, you use everything in Krishna's service. And if your work is in that way, if you're living like that, then you can live for hundreds of years. There is no alternative in this way for a human life to attain liberation. This sort of work will not bind one to the law of karma, because when we are using everything, then we are not bound. Our work will not bound. And that's what Krishna says, no? Yat karosi yat juhosi yastada yat karosi. Yes. Whatever you do it as an offering to me, whatever you give away, whatever you eat, yat juhosi dadati yat um, matku tad arpanam, mad arpanam. Do everything as an offering to me. Um, if you live in that way, and Krishna says, when one is living in that principle of renunciation, that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we give away, if we live in this principle, doing everything as an offering to Krishna, then there is no bondage to our work. No. And Krishna says, if one lives in this way, in the principle of renunciation, because that requires renunciation. If one is living in this way in a principle of renunciation, the next verse Krishna says that person will come to me. Because ultimately, what is the goal of life? Correct, right? Goal of life is to go to Krishna. Na? As long as we are living in this world, we cannot be happy here. Um, in this material world, people are only trying to enjoy the three moods. Basically, the living entities enjoy of Rajogun, enjoy of Tamogun. That's what we try to do today. We're discussing, we enjoy sleeping, and we enjoy, Rajogun. Rajogun is like very excited for something new, a new house, a new car, a new job, a new promotion. We are always looking for something next, something next. And this is pleasure of Rajogun, something exciting, and I want it. I want it. Um, then there's pleasure Sattvagun. I eat very less, so I'm much better than others, and um, um, I don't become angry, or I'm a sober man, or I do austerities. So there's Sattvagun, there's pleasure Sattvagun. Living entities trying to enjoy Rajagun, trying to enjoy Tamagun, trying to enjoy Sattvagun. But it is said that all this enjoyment is illusory. It has no basis, because Krishna says the three modes itself is just a feeling. It has no basis. Um, uh, all the pleasure and all the pain in this world is illusory. Um, and it is said that that is the cause of misery. All this is cause of misery. Ultimately, we can be happy when our heart is filled with love. And love is available in Goloka Vrindavan. That's where there is true love for Krishna, true love for all the associates of Krishna. That's the only place where the heart can be content. Like His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says, our happiness comes from loving exchanges. And true loving exchanges without anything exist in Goloka. So Krishna says, if you live rightly in this world by following this principle of Isavasya, that I am the proprietor, Krishna is the proprietor of everything. If you live in a mode of renunciation in this world and do everything as an offering to Krishna, then surely you will go back to Krishna. Ultimately, what we want our life, we want to live in such a way that we can develop taste in hearing and chanting. We can become more absorbed. We can become more Krishna conscious. We want to live in such a way that Krishna becomes pleased with us. Because Krishna is pleased with you, then Krishna will reveal himself to you. And if Krishna reveals himself to you, it is said that that person is the richest man on the planet, who has Krishna's mercy with him, है ना? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught by example of Kolavecha Sridhar. Mahaprabhu said, Kolavecha, one day I will expose you. Kolavecha said, what will you expose? Haha, I know what you are hiding within, what you are hiding, which nobody knows. Kolavecha said, my lord, I am not hiding anything. I live in hut with many roofs, and my clothes have more holes than my roof also. I am not hiding anything. Mahaprabhu said, you can cheat the whole world. You cannot cheat me. I know what you are hiding. So Mahaprabhu is referring to the pure devotion that Kolavicha is hiding in his heart, which nobody knows. And he's the happiest man, so the richest man also. So one who live in this principle of Isavasya, they will go back to Godhead. And there is no alternative to this way for a human life. Any other way you live, it will cause bondage. And that's why the principle, this is called the art of living, acting according to the principle of Isavasya, or work with detachment and avoid bondage. Otherwise, there is attachment and there will be bondage, and that will result into another birth and then another birth, and this continues. It's not easy to apply, but if somebody can live, they are the most fortunate people, because actually Krishna is sanctioning them to live in this principle. They are the most fortunate. So this verse speaks on the following one ashram dharma. By performing prescribed duties with detachment as an offering to the Supreme Lord, one can purify one's consciousness. Working while cultivating a relationship with the Lord doesn't cause bondage but liberation. So if you do everything with the relationship based on first principle, no bondage, but you will become liberated. In that way, the consciousness will be purified. Then there is karma bandhana, which is opposite, which is bondage by material work. Uh, no one wants to die. Everyone wants to live as long as one can drag on. I don't think it needs an explanation. To work in this world, to live in this world, all jivas must work. In which there is a hard struggle. We all have to work in whichever order. Whether one is a brahmachari, there is work. Whether one is sannyasi, whether one is a vanaprastha, whether one is a grihastha. To live in this world, all jivas must work. Everybody has to work, and to work in this world is a hard struggle. The real work, where there is no work, in Golok Vrindavan, there is no work. Today we were discussing there, every step is a dance and every word is a song. Everything there is full of prem. There is no hard struggle. Krishna just plays, he just enjoys. There is no work. But work in this material is a hard struggle. You have to go 8 to 5, you have to do so many things. But if we work in the principle of Ishavasya principle, then good in this life. Then material work, whether good or bad, will create bondage in the cycle of birth and death. If one transgresses the laws of nature, one transmigrates from one species to another. So if one specially break this Isavasya principle and encroach on what belongs to others, um, then next species will come. One transmigrates from one species to another. Whatever Krishna has given others, okay, whatever Krishna has given us, let me try to serve Krishna in whichever capacity I can serve Krishna. Everything is meant to serve Krishna. If somebody is not serving Krishna properly, they are creating, then no, it's not very fortunate position for them. Everybody is meant to serve Krishna. Any kind of material work will cause bondage. Um, Actually, then, we don't encroach on somebody's wealth, but there may be other things we may encroach on. Um, and that one has to contemplate. What is it that belongs to somebody that is not my property, or that is not the result of my work, and that I want to enjoy? that belongs to somebody else and that I want to enjoy, that I want to claim, that I want to control. What is that? And the reason we may want to do that is because we want to be the enjoyer, is because we want something material. But if we can somehow avoid encroaching and work in the principle of renunciation and use our life to serve Krishna, and whatever Krishna sends, don't claim proprietorship over it and use it in Krishna's service, because ultimately whatever Krishna sends is meant to be used in his service. And when we remain pure hearted and keep only the service principle in the center, and use everything to serve Krishna, then you go back. Then you go back to God. Otherwise, um, work will cause bondage. It is true for devotees and non-devotees also. For devotees, we have to think, what is the result of my work? Um, Even if you are in renounced order, you have to see what is the result of my work. Am I happy? Am I offering all the result of my work to Krishna? Or any service you do, what is the result of my work? Am I envious of somebody else's results? And whatever results I get, am I using it to serve Krishna? So this principle of Isavasya, although in for a common people it is the wealth, I'm sure devotees don't encroach anybody else's wealth. But there is many other things. If you think, this principle of Isavasya will keep on expanding for all of us. And this can be a sort of meditation. What is it I'm trying to encroach that belongs to others? I'm trying to claim.
ऐकतीये तुम्हाला ऐकायचंय
Mataji, yeah. लिया माताजी आप म्यूट करेंगे. What is it? What is it? What we have to contemplate for ourselves. I mean, I have a list of things. So you have to contemplate, where is this Isavasya principle? Because of attachment, it is breaking. And that will cause bondage. Or even, even you want to, whatever result Krishna gave, if we want to be the enjoyer, again bondage. If we want somebody else's result to enjoy for myself, again bondage. That is sin actually. That is sin, this is bondage. Both cannot go back to bondage. But when the only thing remains is service to Krishna, what is my life about? We all should speak to ourselves at least externally. What is my life about? It is about serving to Krishna. And while serving to Krishna, whatever comes by serving Krishna, what everything else is meant for, use everything again back in the service of Krishna, and you remain engaged in service of Krishna. And if only that thing, yat karosi, yat dasnasi, yat juhosi dadasi yat. Finally, then very good. Then you go back to him. Okay. Then freedom. Other life forms are also subject to the cycle of birth and death. But a human being has a chance to get free from the chains of karma. Human being, you can go back to Godhead. But animals, they are bound in cycle of birth and death. They have to come to a human life. And then by avoiding work prescribed by the scriptures, one cannot become free from bondage, nor can one attain the state of nishkarmya or akarma. So basically, Krishna is telling, not doing your work is also not an option for you, for us, for anyone, for me, or for any one of us. Not doing duty is not an option. Doing duty and trying to enjoy the results is not an option. Doing duty, enjoying the results, and want to enjoy others' results also definitely not an option. Do your duty as service to Krishna and use everything results that come also in service of Krishna. And then you have fair chance. That's how you attract Krishna's mercy. Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, very interesting. Krishna says, one who works for the Supreme One who works in the mood of detachment for the Supreme attains the Supreme. One who works for the Supreme without attachment to the results, basically results also, only purpose of the results is also for the Krishna's pleasure. One who works in the mood of detachment for the Supreme attains the Supreme. So three kinds of action. The action which are described in the Shastra is karma. Action against Shastra, which causes cycle of birth and death, causes bondage, is akarma. Vikarma. Um, Action that free one from bondage or the cycle of birth and death, preferred by the intelligence, that is akarma, which is bhakti, or doing without attachment, or action performed by misusing one's freedom, which direct one to lower life forms, is vikarma. Then regulation, scriptures regulate work, nishkarma, in such a way that one can gradually realize the authority of the Supreme Being, Krishna. So why their regulation? Why their regulation? Regulation is so that Srila Prabhupada says regulation is to restrict. Um, Purpose of regulation is to restrict. And purpose of restriction is so that we don't deviate and live like an animal life. Rather, we gradually use the human form of life to realize Krishna. So scriptures regulate work, nishkarma, in such a way that one can gradually realize the authority of Supreme Being Krishna. It is a state of positive knowledge in which the three material modes cannot act, and one is not bound to the cycle of birth and death. Then work in devotion. Um, Factually, no one has to do anything more than devotional service unto Lord Krishna. Only by performing actions related to Lord can one avoid material bondage. If we are, we are working for the Lord and using the result also for the pleasure of the Lord and for the service of the Lord. And only purpose of our work is for the pleasure of the Lord. No bondage there. One can avoid material bondage. An ignorant person who does not worship Krishna incurs sin. Even a jnani who is free from sin becomes sinful by not worshipping Krishna. So it is said that even a jnani, anybody who does not worship Krishna incurs sin. Um, Amazing. Bhakti is defined as service to Krishna using the senses with an intention to please him, free of other desires and unobstructed by other processes. Sarvopadi vinirmukta, yat paratvena nirmala, rishikena rishikesha sevana bhakti uchyate, which says one should give up all of one's upadhis, designations, which arise because we want to be the enjoyer of our work, then only upadhis comes. So sarvopadi vinirmukta, and living a pure life and with the intention to please him, and um, using our senses to please Krishna, using our senses to serve Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesha, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. So bhakti is defined as service to Krishna using the senses with an intention to please him, free from other desires and unobstructed by other processes. This is Shuddha Bhakti. Okay, then from karma bandhana to karma yoga, living a God-centered life. Um, um, a conditioned soul cannot immediately take up bhakti activities and give up fruitive activities because he is accustomed to working for sense gratification, either personal or extended, in the names of altruism, socialism, communism, nationalism, and humanitarianism. So Srila Prabhupada says, those who, and this is very common, we see it ourselves also, those who are attached to enjoy the result of their activities, um, those who are attached to fruitive activities, those who are accustomed to working for sense gratification, they cannot immediately take up bhakti. They cannot immediately start doing anything for the purpose of pleasing Krishna. And this is called conditioning. It can be personal or extended. Personal, we understand. Extended sense gratification is altruism, socialism, communism, नेशनलिज्म, ह्यूमैनिटेरियन, दो लोगों के लिए, दुनिया के लिए, हमारे देश के लिए, और you know, all these isms, they are extended sense gratification, and those who are accustomed to personal or extended sense gratification cannot immediately start doing take up bhakti or activities means don't cannot start working in devotion, and work in devotion is described in the previous one we see here. The last one is work in devotion. So those who are conditioned cannot take a work in devotion, like giving up upadhis and using senses of Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna. Not possible. I mean, we may use our senses sometimes to please Krishna, but mostly we will use our senses to please ourselves. Why? Because we are conditioned in that way. So we may be practicing the process of bhakti, but we cannot follow bhakti because of our conditioning. These isms are very attractive forms of karma bandhana, altruism, nationalism. They all bind us because, to some extent, they are on a bodily platform. It is not done for the pleasure of Krishna, but because of my temporary identity as a human or as an Indian or whatever, etc. These isms are very attractive forms of karma bandhana, or I'm fighting for the nation, freedom of my country. Everything is connected to me and what belongs to me, extended sense gratification. So they are very attractive forms of karma bandhana, but they can be made into karma yoga or God-centered activities when executed in the spirit of Isha, Vasya, or accepting the Lord's universal proprietorship. All these isms are also uh, uh, freedom of mind nation. And again, Isavasya means whatever God has given. And Krishna is a proprietor, and whatever he has given, live peacefully and use that in Krishna's service. And all kind of fighting for um, multiple isms is breaking of Isavasya principle. Okay. Even a few God-centered activities can save one from the greatest danger of gliding down again. Even a few God-centered activities. Again, Neha Vikramana Shastri. One can be saved from the greatest. This is Bhagavad Gita. Even half-finished God-centered activities are also good because they will guarantee one a human birth in the next life. Again, Bhagavad Gita. A long life is valuable only if one lives a God-centered life. There is no point living like a tree for hundreds of years. Better live few moments God-centered than no God conscious and live, because no point, whatever we do is ultimately wasted now, because life is wasted. Ultimately, death comes and one entered the graveyard and everything is lost. So, and there is no progress for the soul. Rather, the soul becomes more and more entangled in the three modes. So, such a life is pure waste life. Mm. So, long life is valuable only if one lives a God centered life. Then you live long. Then the last verse, destiny of what happens to those who are soul killers. Soul killers are materialists. We will see the meaning of this. Enter dark worlds, planets of the demons. Asurya namate loka, andhena tamasa shrita, tamste pretya vigachanti, ye ke chatma hano jana. The planets meant for the demons are covered with the darkness of ignorance. Such miserable planets become the destination of the killers of soul after their death. So, killers of soul, Atmahana, there are two types. There are many. Waste their lives in addiction to worldly pursuits. They have, they want to become this, and this, and then enter the graveyard after trying to fulfill all your desires. So their life is wasted. So they are called the killer of the soul. Why? Because um, mm, mm, killer of the soul means the soul, what the soul actually wanted. You killed it actually. So waste their lives in addiction to worldly pursuit and desire and act for excessive sense enjoyment. Again, because that won't make one happy. So that is why it's killer of the soul. People may think excessive sense enjoyment will give me more pleasure, but first it binds, causes more anxiety, and brings more misery, and um, yeah, does not make one happy. So again, they are desire and act for excessive sense enjoyment are also killer of the soul. Then they are bound in the cycle of birth and death. That's why they are killer of the soul. Then they have no knowledge of soul or God. Mm, Whole human life is wasted. Do not establish a relationship with Paramatma, utilizing human life for self-realization. Rarity, the soul obtains a human form after an evolution of many millions of years of transmigration into different species. Human form is very rare. Importance, a human being is given all facility for a comfortable life by the laws of nature because human life is more valuable than animal life. Um, in basically in human life, you get the facility. Um, Human life is actually very comfortable life also. If you see animals, they live only in the forest. And animals, His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj is always in fear. Animals. Um, Even if somebody is sleeping outside on a tree, they have a fear somebody will come and bite me. Because, imagine you are living on the road or you are living in a forest, and that forest has many man-eating lions. If you have to live in a forest with many man-eating lions, thousands of them roaming around, how peacefully can you sleep in that environment? Or you are living in a building. Suppose you're living in a building, that building has ghosts. How comfortable you will be in the dead of a night, any object will come and kill us. How comfortable will we be? So likewise, it is said human life is very comfortable. When we sleep, there is no fear actually. When death will come, but it's very like what you want to eat, you go, you buy, you cook. Actually very comfortable. But for them, they really have to struggle for a grain of sugar also, and on the way they are killed. Many of them. So that's why human life is given all the facilities actually. Um, very. But then, if that human form of life, why? Because then we don't have to worry about so many things that animals have to worry. Don't have to worry. Everything is provided. That's why it is said the importance human being is given all facilities for a comfortable life by the laws of nature. But human life is more valuable than animal life. A highly placed government servant is given better facility than those of an ordinary clerk. Ordinary clerk has some facility, but highly placed government servant, even though he's a government servant, he's a servant. Highly placed, maybe like the president, prime minister, they're government servant actually. This mayor and these people. So highly placed government servant is given better facility than those of an ordinary clerk. So this highly placed government servant is compared to a human life. A human life is mm, great facilities are given. And still there are two types of human beings. There are godly persons, there are demons, suras and asuras. Suras are cognizant of the responsibility of human life, aiming at Lord Vishnu's lotus feet and acting accordingly. They know the purpose of human life, why it is given, why the intelligence is given, why such facility is given. So we don't have to worry about the bare minimum things, and carefree we can use the life to serve the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu's lotus feet, and act in the principle of bhakti, surrender our life to Krishna. But asuras, neglectful of the responsibilities of human life and have no information of them. They don't know what the human life is meant for, or they neglect it. Even if they know, they don't care about what is the purpose. They don't believe. They have no faith in that. So they come in the category of demons. So purpose, the material world is like an ocean. Bhagavatam, Uddhav Gita. Material world is like an ocean. The human body is like a solid boat. The acharyas are experts boatmen, and the scriptures are like favorable breezes. One must use all these facilities of human life to attain self-realization. Otherwise, one is considered the killer of his own soul. So purpose is this material world is like a bhavasagar, samsar, bhavasagar, the ocean, the cycle of ocean. It's an ocean of samsar. Bhava means ocean of cycle of birth and death. Um, and to cross it, one needs a suitable boat. That boat is compared to a human body, and then one needs a suitable captain who knows how to get to the other end of the shore. That captain is the spiritual master who knows the truth, who has attained the truth, who has attained the realization, and now he's guiding us. Like Nityananda Prabhu told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yeah, I'll take you to Vrindavan because I know each and every route how to get to Vrindavan. So I'll take you. And then he took him to Shantipur. And when Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan in the third time, then Sarup Damodar Goswami also said, my lord, I know all the routes to Vrindavan, I know, so I'll take you there. Mahaprabhu says, no, I will not take a servant who is my intimate associate. Then Sarup Damodar Goswami, all right, here is Vallabhata Bhattacharya. He has great affection and attachment for you, and great love for you, and he has a great desire and eagerness to serve you, and he is not one of your intimate associates. Please take him with you. Then Mahaprabhu said, all right, I'll take him. So we need somebody who knows the way, and somebody who knows the way, that is spiritual master, who knows the way, and he has been to the other side, and he's coming this side, just to help us show the way. So we need expert boatmen. Um, we need expert boat, we need expert boatmen, and then we need favorable wind. There is no motors earlier. Everything is based on, if the wind is not favorable, you cannot even go. You will deviate a lot. Even though you're an expert boatman, you need favorable breeze to carry you to the other, and that is the instruction of the Supreme Law, which is the scriptures. So when we have scriptures, and this is the responsibility of human life, when we have scriptures, when we have Guru, and when we have a human body, um, if human body is not there, then there is no boat only. Then even the spiritual master and favorable breeze cannot help an animal or other form of life. Instructions are there, spiritual master generally, it's not practical. So we need a human body. Then we can cross over the Bhavasagar. This is the purpose of human life. One must use all these facilities of human life to attain self-realization. Otherwise, one is considered the killer of his own soul. Killer of his own soul means you want your own destruction. Like, who wants to kill oneself? I mean, we all want to give ourselves, we all want us to be benefited now. Nobody wants to kill themselves. So likewise, when we all want us to be benefited, means to, we all want to attain love for Krishna. That is our real benefit. But if we direct it in illusory way, and then you go on and you get the opposite reaction to it, then it is very painful. Like it's like Bhima offering a poison cake, not Bhima offering, Duryodhan offering a poison cake to Bhima, and Bhima like, oh, the cake, I will eat it. He ate, but it was poison. So likewise, it's illusory. It's an illusory cake. Seems like a cake, but it's a poison. Likewise, material happiness can be compared to uh, poisoned cake. Outside it's cake, very attractive, but then inside there is bondage, there is anxiety, all material happiness. There is anxiety, there is bondage, all waiting for us. It's the other side of the coin. Just wait and see. Everything will come, with interest. Everything is going to come back to us because of those activities. So that person who is eating the poison cake is called the killer of one's own soul. Then polished animals. Animals are always engaged in feeding their hungry stomachs. Modern civilized humans who do the same and don't take interest in self-realization are just like polished animals. Proper phrase. Such a soul-killing civilization increases the problems of the hungry stomach. The laws of nature are so cruel. Hungry stomach means those who are actually looking for the real pleasure. Um, they have, I mean, we all have hunger for devotion, hunger for bhakti, but giving those who are seeking pleasure, giving them material pleasure is like um, increasing the problem of the hungry stomach. Because I mean, the reason we are vacant inside because of need of bhakti, want of bhakti, and instead of bhakti we get something else, and it just it never extinguishes our hunger. Our thirst never extinguished. So the problem of hungry stomach keeps on increasing because it further um, um, binds us in this to this, further attaches us to this material world, further prolongs our search. So such a soul-killing civilization increases the problem of the hungry stomach. The laws of nature are so cruel that they force such person to work hard like asses and bulls and threaten them by unemployment. So Prabhupada says, they work very hard like asses and bulls, and after working so hard, also they are threatened by employment, and whatever they live in full of anxiety, like they work like ass and bulls. They live in fear and anxiety, and then whatever they acquire is taken away by force from them. So very, it is said that the laws of nature for them are so cruel. Cruel means पहले भी थप्पड़ मारो और बाद में भी थप्पड़ मारो. Like पहले भी मारो बाद में भी मारो. This is the laws of nature. कुछ मिलता भी नहीं है और रिएक्शन ऊपर से अलग आता है. So Prabhupada called the whole civilization a soul-killing civilization. Unsuccessful attempt: if one does not realize one's relationship with God in one human life, despite one's sincere effort, one is again given a chance to take the next birth in a spiritually advanced or wealthy family to continue the spiritual progress. So, if somebody is trying to um, um, engage themselves in the progress of the soul, if somebody is trying to grow in one's Krishna consciousness, like Krishna says, no loss or diminution. You resume from where you left off. And this is the best thing we can do. Practice the Ishavasya principle. Krishna is the proprietor of everything. Using our body, our life, and everything back in service of Krishna in a mood of renunciation and performing sincere bhakti and trying to attain what we really are is uh, trying to become a resident of Goloka Vrindavan. No, a materialistic person who does not take to self-realization, covered by illusion, is forced to enter hell, transmigrate to the demoniac species planets, and take birth in degraded species of life to work hard in ignorance and darkness. So he's trying to be happy. He goes through a lot of misery. He engages in activities which are killer of the soul in illusory activities. He gets lot of suffering in this life, and next life he goes to the lower planet. That's what this verse speaks. Um, to a demoniac planet, take birth in degraded species of life to work hard in ignorance and darkness. So this is like killer of the soul. This third verse says, one who does not live in this principle of detachment and lives a life of sin, not a life of devotion. Um, he is a killer of his own soul, and he enters into the darkest region and dark planets. He enters. There's a description here. Demoniac destination, asuras make a show of religion but aim for material prosperity. They are great only in wealth, deception, and votes of the ignorant. Ignorant people say, very nice, great personality. Ignorant people vote for them. They are trying to deceive others as if they are great people. Um, they are great only in wealth. They seems to be having wealth and position, everything seems to be great only from that perspective, and they show themselves as very nice, religious. Asuras make a show of religion. Atma Sambhavita. They are devoid of self-realization, and they themselves, although they make a show of religion, they themselves have no realization about themselves, and devoid of knowledge of Isavasya. Or even if they know, they don't believe in, they don't apply it. They still work against the principle of Krishna is the proprietor of everything, and they are certain to enter into the darkest regions. Killer of the soul, human beings are meant to solve all material problems. Human beings are meant to solve all material problems. Karma should lead to dharma, or our action should really lead to Krishna or religion. Vairagya, virag, and ultimately bhakti. So karma should lead to dharma, vairagya, and ultimately bhakti, which is the natural propensity of the soul. And that's what Bhagavatam also says. Um, Some siddhim haritoshana. The goal of our varnashram dharma is to please Hari. And any karma, varnashram dharma or karma, if it is not helping us to develop our taste in hearing and chanting, um, then that karma is said as shrav evahi kevalam, as a waste of time. So human beings are meant to solve all material problems. And their karma should lead to, their activity should be such that their activity should lead them to religion, to detachment, and to bhakti. Your activity should result in these things. Um, then that is proper. Otherwise, one must be considered dead, although breathing. Such people are killers of their own soul and attain demoniac qualities. Otherwise, mm, opposite is not very good. Okay, then one must work in this world to maintain the body while establishing a relationship with the Lord. It is said, body needs to be maintained. Mm, mm, Best is if it is maintained in a nirapeksha way. Today evening we were discussing. Nirapeksha way, maintaining the body means maintaining the body with minimum needs, simple needs. One must work in this world to maintain the body while establishing a relationship with the Supreme. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when we live uh, with minimum needs in our lives, then that lifestyle is very conducive for bhakti. There, Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls them by the name Nirapeksha Grihasthas. They are Grihastha, but they have simple needs. And he says that lifestyle is very conducive for bhakti. So one must work in this world to maintain the body while establishing a relationship with the Lord. Such actions are karma in name only, as they are completely transformed into the Lord's service. And when our karma, when our activities um, are helping us to develop a relationship with the Lord, that karma is karma in name only, as they are completely transformed into the Lord's service. And like Srila Prabhupada says, bhakti is not speculation or idle time. Bhakti is practical activity. So karma is there. But if our karma in this world to maintain the body, our karma is conducive to bhakti. When we work in such a way that our work is a Krishna conscious activity, and through that we maintain ourselves also. Like I'm thinking of Giriraj Prabhu, many of you know. So work is, I mean, he has to maintain his family, but to maintain his family, he cook for Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha. That is very, very favorable actually, very nice. But of course, it's not everyone can do like that. But we can still um, um, use our karma in such a way that our karma can become bhakti, and we know how it can be done. So one must work in this world to maintain the body while establishing a relationship with the Lord. Such actions are karma in name only. Then that karma is not really karma, as they are completely transformed into Lord service. And even if you are working outside, if our goal of life, although we are working outside, if our goal of life is Krishna, and if we are sincere, then that working outside also is in name only. Such actions are karma in name only, as a completely transformed into Lord service. Why? Because we are using our outside work and all the results with our outside work only to serve Krishna. And when one is doing that, then that karma is in name only, because ultimately it's like, whether one is a brahmachari, when is a grahastha, it doesn't really matter that time, because once everything, one's life is meant to serve Krishna. And the service may be of different nature. For somebody, the service may be kirtan, for somebody cooking. For somebody, service may be of different nature. But then ultimately it is meant to serve Krishna. That life is great. Okay. Yes, that was very dense. So that's all I have. Um, if anybody wants to ask anything, have any question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you for wonderful explanations. I was just trying to think the killer of soul means someone, if I can summarize in my words, uh, killer would be who who doesn't worship Krishna in this human life and rather still engage in material activities or karma kand.
Yeah, all of them probably. Like if you see, there is one slide. See, if you see, do you see the, oh, 1 second, coach. Yeah, you see this slide,
Yes,
and killer of
yes.
soul are those who waste their life in addiction to worldly pursuits, desire and act for excessive sense enjoyment, are bound in the cycle of birth and death, have no knowledge of soul or God, and do not establish a relationship with Paramatma. Basically, engaging their time in material activities. Because what they get from there is bondage, misery, and a cycle of birth and death. So the reason they are called killer of soul, because they are trying to find happiness in those things, but ultimately they are harming themselves. Because a living entity is like, no matter what is given to it, the living entity is like fish out of water, cannot be happy with anything other than water. Na? So
Mhm.
no living entity can be happy without devotion. So they will never attain what they really want On the other hand, they get bondage and they get sins and they get reaction, they get another species, another life. So life in this material world, as long as we are there, and we see Prabhupada describe, it's a hard struggle for existence. So they're just going to struggle more and more, and lot of suffering will come. So they are harming themselves. They're killing the soul's desire to serve Krishna through all these distractions.
Yes, Prabhuji. So a so-called, I mean, say practicing sadhkas, even if they don't say achieve prema, but they're still on the path.
Great.
So
So, I mean, if I'm right, probably most of us won't attain Prema in this life. Very hard to me. Prema is very high state. And some of you may be, then you all can pray for me. Prema is very hard. Um, but Srila Prabhupada, we saw in one slide, Prabhupada says, human life is guaranteed. Progress is there. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aneka Janma Samsiddhim. In sixth chapter, he says, Aneka Janma Samsiddhim. After many, many births, he will attain perfection. He will come to me. Going to Krishna and Golok Vrindavan is very attractive, very high goal, very attractive goal. But Krishna says again and again, they will come, they will again resume, come back, again resume, come back, again resume. And finally, they will attain me.
So, Prabhuji, it is also said that, say, someone who has even chanted once, they are delivered.
Well,
So,
what does that delivery means? That delivery means they won't go to Yamlok. Yamlok means, for example, now Narayan. So now if I die and I chant Narayan, immediately I die. So I don't commit any more sinful activities because as soon as I chanted Narayan, I die. Now I don't have to go to Yamlok. I don't have to suffer for my past sins. But I'm gonna come back in this material world because I want to attain love of God. Just because I'm free from the sins, I'm delivered from the sins. I won't attain love of God, Prabhuji.
true.
For love
Yes.
of God, we discuss in little more detail, but for love of God, there is continuous chanting and going through the progress to prema stage. Like Ajamila, 12 years in Haridwar, Narayan with faith, then he attained prema.
So someone who has Agyat Sukriti, so this is something similar to Agyat Sukriti, right, Prabhuji? Like
This is
they
Agyat.
chanted, so they did something, but then that gave them what do you say? That saved them from Yamlok. But uh, so is it still called? I mean, whatever they do, is it still? Can it be considered as soul killer or no?
No, no. I mean, if they chant that one thing, save the soul, everything else killed the soul. That they did. That one thing saved the soul actually. But then if they continue doing that, then they are properly utilizing. So now Soul Killer goes to lower planet, na? Demonic species and dark planets. Like here, if you see the planets meant for the demons are covered with the darkness of ignorance. Such miserable planets become the destination of the killers of the soul after their death. Those who are killers of the soul, that is the destination. But then those who chant Narayan, bach gaye na? I mean, they did not properly utilize, but to attain prema, to go back to Godhead, very serious Shuddha Bhakti. That will take us. But mixed Bhakti will lead to Shuddha Bhakti. So everything is positive, but it's gradual. But it's definitely not killer of the soul.
Okay. Understand, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
The densities, our conditioning may still be like soul killers, but we are not killing it. We are trying in positive direction. They just do it. We are not doing it, but we are practicing bhakti. Correct, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna
Thank
Prabhuji.
you,
Dhanyavad Pranam.
Mataji.
Prabhuji,
Dhanwad pranam,
the
Mataji.
lecture was so powerful and so satisfying. I have learned so much. It's like reading, what's that book called?
Self-realization.
Uh, chapter, what is it called? Book?
Self-realization.
Yeah. Like,
Isopanishad.
yeah, no, Ushayustam, but it's like reading, what book is that?
That's what it was, Mataji. You were
The
reading only.
the self-realization, the book called Self-Realization. And I think I got so much knowledge from you today, Prabhuji, that I will have to practice what you have said today.
Me too.
I
I'm
have,
also.
Ishavasam is so powerful, Prabhuji. And, you know,
Mm.
I have to practice that every day. So it was so touching. It was so wonderful today, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhu. I really appreciate that.
I'm
Hare,
surprised. But anyways, okay. Thank you for encouragement, Mataji.
thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Krishna. Prabhuji, what
Dhanwad pranam, Mataji. Hare
exactly
Krishna.
is the meaning of Ishavasya word? What exactly it means?
Yeah, okay. So Isha Vasya means Krishna is a proprietor. And if Krishna is a proprietor, and if Krishna owns everything, then he controls everything and he's the enjoyer of everything. I mean, whatever you own, you are the enjoyer. Um, um, you own a house. Now you can enjoy the facilities of the house, the warmth of the house, the comfort of the house. Whatever you own, you can enjoy. But the actual substance is that Krishna is the one of infinite. All the living entities, he is the owner of all the living entities. He is the living entity in the universe. Discuss Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. Soul control, who enjoys and he owns. And when we live in this principle, then the first verse speaks about the Isavasya principle. Madhvi, was I audible? Something happened.
Prabhuji, your voice was breaking for
Okay, I'll
past
try again.
couple minutes.
Yeah. So, Isavasya principle, you understood the explanation of Isavasya principle, or it was breaking there?
Yes, Prabhuji. So what I understand is that the same way you explained in today's Bhagavatam class, right? So he is Bhokta and we are meant to be enjoyed. Is that the gist of that?
Yeah. So, Vasya means everything belongs to. He is a proprietor of everything. He is the proprietor of all the matter. He is a proprietor of all that is spiritual. All all living entities and all everything belongs to him, and he is the enjoyer, because only one who owns, a proprietor, can enjoy. I was giving an example that you have a home, so you can enjoy the warmth, the heat of the home, and the comfort of the home you can enjoy because you own it. Nobody else can enjoy the comfort of your home. Like a homeless person cannot enjoy the comfort of your home, you can enjoy. So when you own, when you are proprietor of something, you are the enjoyer of that thing. And because Krishna is the proprietor of everything, we want to be the enjoyer. Then we are the killer of our souls, basically. And those Ishavasa principle means Krishna is the enjoyer. We accept whatever is in our quota and we use it, and we should use it in the service of the Lord. And we should use everything to give pleasure to Him. And that requires a spirit of detachment. Because naturally, like we gave an example of a labor becomes attached to what he does, and a labor cannot say, because I build it, now this home belongs to me. No, sir, you are a labor. You build it, but doesn't belong to you because the ingredients belongs to the owner. He's paying you. He's paying you for what you did. Likewise, Krishna is paying us for what we do, the karma we do. Krishna is paying us by giving us our quota. Likewise, the owner pays the builder, the laborer for building the house, and you go back. So likewise, but he cannot claim. Likewise, the living entity cannot claim anything belongs to him. But based on one's karma, the Supreme Lord gives you a quota that you can accept. But because that also belongs to Krishna, he has given you it, but because everything belongs to him, you use that quota also in service of him, and that requires a principle of detachment. So first verse speaks about the principle of Isavasya. The second verse speaks about one who lives with this principle in the mood of detachment, attain liberation. And the third verse speaks about one who do not apply this principle and who wants to be the enjoyer and proprietor and engages in materialistic activities without knowledge of Paramatma, soul, God. He becomes the killer of one's own soul, and he goes to the dark planets. What is the principle? Follower of the principle goes to back to Godhead. Who not follow this principle go to dark planets. And the basic principle is Krishna is the proprietor. He is the enjoyer. He uses everything in his service. And while using everything in his service, naturally we can also use the quota that he has provided for our maintenance, for our simple maintenance, and use the life in service to him and use everything else in service to him and maintain yourself. And one who is doing his karma in that mood of detachment in that way, his karma is no more of karma. His karma is karma in name only. His karma is actually bhakti. Does that answers Mataji your question? The basic of Ishavasya principle.
Yes, Prabhuji, you very well explained. So, just in short, like summary is that principle is he is the owner and proprietor, and we are using his property. So, to implement this in the life is that we should keep Krishna in center, and whatever we should use in Krishna's means for Krishna and
The
in
mood of
detachment
detachment.
mode, in the mode of detachment. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. And
Well,
one silly question. So, killer of soul, it's just like the term used, not literally meaning we can take, right? Because soul cannot be killed, right? In second, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it says that soul cannot be killed. Soul
yeah,
is eternal, right? It's just the like namesake, right?
like we can say it. He's harming his own soul because he's harming himself because he goes to lower planets and all the suffering that comes to him because he does not follow this principle. So he's killing himself or harming himself. But yes, the soul cannot be killed.
So soul killing means not it cannot progress further for going back to Godhead, but it will
Go down.
lower, yeah, low
तो अपने आप को मारो
demotion kind
इन द नेम
yeah.
ऑफ इल्यूजन कि मिलेगा कुछ, कोई केवल बीटिंग मिलेगा. जैसे हमने एग्जांपल लिया पॉइजन केक का, केक जैसा लगता है पर बहुत उसका रिएक्शन आता है।
Means
तो
we are stopping promotion of soul, but we are going demotion. We are
हाँ,
working on demotion level. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
और कॉम्प्लेक्स तो है, कोशिश करते हैं, but it's the some of the way it is explained is also very complex, so we are trying. हाँ जी, कुछ और any other any
Hare
other
Krishna Prabhuji.
माता
Uh,
पिता?
Prabhuji, first three verses are only so powerful. Actually, how many verses are there, Prabhuji, in Isopanishad?
Well, there are 18 verses, so there will be 6 sessions. Today is the first one. First one means when we actually go to verses, we cover 3 verses. We have 15 more verses. We will cover 3 verses every session. So 5 weeks. So hopefully it's end of March. 5 weeks means first week of May, or maybe second week of May, because one weekend I may not be here. But certainly in May, we are finishing this course.
Great, thank you, Prabhuji. We get to hear more, so happy, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Some more we should tolerate me. Okay. Anything else? Any other question? No other question? All right. Okay. Thank you for tolerating me like every Sunday. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me as a humble servant. My obeisances to all of you. Panchakalpatarubhesha Kripasindhubhe Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad pranam, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Pranam,
Dandavat
Prabhu.
Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank